Good morning, everyone, and welcome to THG Network. Today's Tuesday, 18th June. It's already the start of a beautiful morning. My name is Mervin Hanley, and this morning I ask if you have not done so as yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We see that we have over 1,000 of you. You have subscribed since we brought back THG News less than a year ago, and that's great. But we also expect greater. So I ask that you please subscribe. Now, we weren't here on Monday because on Sunday was Father's Day, and I decided to take in the great and awesome occasion, right? And I sure did enjoy. And then I said, you know what? Today is not a day. Today is not a day to do research, no news, and then having to wake up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to prepare the news. So I said, no way, not on this Father's Day, not in the next 24 hours. So it's the morning after Father's Day, and the people will understand. Now we move on to today's news and today's commentary or whatever we have here this morning. And I had some news for you this morning, but we had to change our programming a bit because lots happening on Anguilla, not just their big carnival family reunion celebrations, but also on the governance and political side of things. Late last week in the Anguilla House of Assembly, we saw a back and forth between the Speaker of the House and Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Cora Richardson Hodge, and the Speaker, of course, Barbara Webster Boren. I will show this snippet. I have Honorable Leader of the Opposition here with me this morning, so I will show this snippet. I have my own thoughts on this, but I want to hear from the Leader of the Opposition. So here is this video, and then I will speak to the Honorable Cora Richardson Hodge. Here we go.
This is on the record of this administration, Madam Speaker. On a point of order, again, the member continues to impute improper motive, and I understand that he wants to play politics. But
thank you, member.
Thank you.
You've made your point. You've made your point.
I did not finish making my point.
Your point
Madam Speaker, I'm still speaking and you've interrupted me.
When I am speaking to you,
Madam Speaker, you're interrupting me while I'm making a point of order.
Please resume your seat. I have your point of order.
How are you going to say that I'm finished when I was in the process of speaking, Madam Speaker?
If I understand your point of order.
No, you do not understand because I wasn't finished speaking.
Member, please resume your seat.
This is really a baby house of assembly, a dollhouse, a joke of a house.
Please.
No respect.
Thank you. You have no respect.
No, you have no respect.
Please, member. You
have no respect.
Please.
And now the members have respect for the people of Anguilla.
Member.
Or for the opposition, the very least. But for the people of Anguilla.
I ask you to leave this honorable house.
Thank God.
Since that is what you want, you got it. You leave this. Please escort this member out. Thank you.
You're
please
rude
respect.
And you're out of place.
Please. I will not take your disrespect. I
won't take yours either. I am leaving. I am leaving. Because I do not want to see you again today.
Show that I have had you removed, escorted out. Member, you may.
Wow. Good day, Honorable Richardson Hodge, and welcome to THG. What was that? That snippet I just showed, what was that?
Good day to you, Mervin, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. So you would have seen the recording in terms of the House of Assembly, which took place on Friday, this past Friday. Mm-hmm. And let me first start by saying that the role of the House of Assembly is primarily to make laws, to approve finances, and to scrutinize government.
Yes.
And so, as a member of the opposition in the House of Assembly, my role is in part to hold the government's feet to the fire, mm-hmm. to scrutinize the actions that are taken by the government on behalf of the people of Anguilla. Mm-hmm. And so all of us who are elected representatives are placed in the House of Assembly to act on behalf of the people and to represent the interests of the people. And I must say, Mervin, that as it currently stands, there are 5 members of opposition in the Anguilla House of Assembly and 6 members of government. Mm. So those 5 members have the right and the obligation to represent the interests of the people in Anguilla. So on Friday, would have been the supplementary budget that this government brought to the House of Assembly. The notice was given on Monday. And so the members of the opposition, and indeed the public, only had 3 days to review the supplementary budget before it came to the House for first, second, and third reading.
Oh, wow.
And so it is apparent.
So this sounds like it was rushed.
It was rushed, and the intent was to push it through the House of Assembly on Friday and to avoid any sort of any scrutiny or any other action that could cause them to be able to have to answer to the issues that arose in the supplementary budget. And so we'll talk about it in a little bit, but one of the main issues that arose when we reviewed the supplementary budget was the fact that there is a project, the Landsome Bowl Cultural Center, where the government of Anguilla would have represented to the people that some $5 million US was being given by a private donor, and so there was no need to go through government procurement. Mm-hmm. There was no need to come to the House of Assembly. There was no need to explain to the people of Anguilla anything in relation to this project that was being constructed. And so imagine our surprise when we see in the supplementary budget a line item for the same Landsome Bowl Cultural Center. So the line item now means that they are placing an entry in the budget for funds to be allocated for the same Landsome Bowl Cultural Center.
After so we're saying that the $5 million US is finished?
Well, we do not know. There has been no accountability to the people of Anguilla. At the time that the village was started, there was no planning approval. There was it did not go through any procurement system, and there was no accountability as to how the monies were being spent. What we were told is that it was going through the private donors procurement process. Uh-huh. We don't know what that means. And up to today, we have not seen the spend and how much it has cost up to this point in time. So imagine now we go to the House of Assembly. There's a line item for the same project that is supposed to be fully privately funded, and the allocation of $1 EC. Now, Mervin, I think it is important that people understand that the $1 is simply a placeholder. Imagine writing a blank check with your signature at the bottom of that check with no figure in it. That's what that $1 in the budget means. It means that you can allocate up to $5 million to that same line item at any time, as long as it's now in the budget. So, of course, you are talking about the taxpayers' dollars being used for a project that the people were told was privately funded and would not have to come out of the Treasury. So when we took to the House on Friday, many persons who would have looked at the entire session of the House would have seen a number of things that were taking place at that time. For my part, while I was on my feet, the Speaker of the House, the Honorable Barbara Webster Bourne, was laughing during my presentation and exchanging looks laughingly with the Premier. We had the member for Road South, the Honorable Hayden Hughes, throughout every presentation by every member of the opposition, shouting and yelling from his seat on the government side while we were making our presentations. And it came down to a point where, at least on 2 occasions, the Speaker was asked to ask the member to refrain from interrupting, yelling, and making comments while the members of opposition were speaking. So this is the nature of the House that we have been dealing with for quite some time. So while the member for Road South was speaking, he would have made some very disparaging statements against the Anguilla United Front and against the members of the opposition. And on numerous occasions, the other members and myself would have stood up on points of order to be able to address the issues. And so when I stood up on that point of order that you have just seen, the it was to explain to the House and to the general public the fact that the allegations, unfounded allegations made by the member for Road South, ought not to be entertained by the Honorable House. And that the expectation was that the Speaker would have informed the member to refrain from making statements that were imputing improper motive or making allegations against the opposition and against the Anguilla United Front. That was not forthcoming. What the Speaker of the House did instead was to tell me before I even finished making my point of order that she knew what I was going to say essentially, and that I must sit down. Now, the difficulty, Mervin, is that I have never been a person who accepted bullying, whether privately or professionally. And so what Friday's actions amounted to was the Speaker of the House behaving in such a way as to amount to suppressing the voice of the opposition. And it is unfortunate that it has come to this point, because the members of the opposition are generally being stifled from being able to speak and be able to ask questions and to be able to hold the government to account, as is their role and indeed their obligation. And so it gives rise to the very real fact that the Speaker of the House, and by extension, the government of Anguilla, is operating in a dictatorial manner. And I say this for a number of reasons. First of all, many persons would have seen in previous months, over the years, under this administration, where you had the member for Road South licking out his tongue and making what appeared to be sexually oriented suggestions to other members of the House of Assembly, and that video would have gone across the region. What happened in that occasion? Nothing. You have had the member, the single island-wide member, the Honorable Quincy Gomes Marie, seen on video throwing a chair and cursing, or at least holding a chair towards an individual, a private citizen, and cursing, saying that she will kill them MS and she will bury them. What has happened? Nothing. In the House of Assembly, the members of government typically yell, make all sorts of statements, inappropriate statements, while the opposition is speaking. Nothing happens. The members of government stand up, and especially the member for Road South, and repeatedly
and the member for Road South, for those who may not know, because of course this is regional, you're talking about Hayden Hughes.
The Honorable Hayden Hughes.
Yes, correct.
Has repeatedly stood in the House and called the names of private individuals in Anguilla. And because they may not support him, makes negative comments, criticisms, and any sort of other statements against these private citizens in the House of Assembly, where he has the cloak of immunity, and knowing full well that the private citizens do not have the ability to respond in like manner. It gives rise to the view that the member for Road South, the Honorable Hayden Hughes, is a coward, because the statements that he makes in the House of Assembly, he is unable to make privately outside of the cloak that he is given, the cloak of protection in the House. He is unable to go on radio and make those very same statements against members of the public. And so all of these factors are factors that have been taking place continuously and consistently, house after house after house. And so, unlike, and as you know, Mervin, I am an attorney by training. And when we're before the court and there is a judge that makes a decision that is not in our favor, or in anyone's favor, it can be appealed. A decision can be appealed. What happens in the House of Assembly when a decision of a speaker, when the speaker behaves in such a manner that it is not right and not acceptable? Where do you turn? Who do you go to? And at the end of the day, the speaker's role is to exemplify justice and fairness, even if she is a member of the political party of the sitting government.
And I'm going to come to that, but I just want to go back to something, Honorable Hodge. Before the Landsome Bowl Cultural Center, or when the government presented its case to the people regarding the building of the renovation or building of the construction of the new cultural center, they had a big song and dance about it, and they made sure say, and they promoted when the opposition was going after them regarding the procurement process. It was said they were pushing back and were like, no, absolutely no funds will come from the government coffers. They said this is privately done by the investor, and that's about it. We don't need anything from the government. So they do not understand why the opposition is making so much noise. They had all of that to say. Fine. Fine. Yes. No problem. Okay. Even though the procurement process, I understand. Okay. You give them a little break. Okay, fine. Go ahead. You say that's what you're doing. But how is it now that you spent or close to $5 million US, and in my estimation, that is about just over 13 million EC dollars, and you now have that as a line item in your the budget, and basically a blank check, you're saying, up to $5 million. So you're saying to the people, you don't know if they're going to spend $1. But it can also be 4 or 5 million additional dollars. Yes. And that to me, that in my mind is somewhat concerning and disturbing. So what happened to the 5 million US, the 13 million EC dollars that you would have spent, and now you're asking, you slide it in without coming to the people, coming back to the people to say, hey guys, you know what? We may need additional funding, so here it is. But instead, you're saying to me that they just rushed it through some sneaky channel to get their way.
Right. And a couple of things to say in relation to that, Mervin. First of all, the budget, the supplementary budget, was an increase of $50 million to the existing budget.
Oh, wow.
So they brought a $50 million increase with 3 days' notice to push through the House of Assembly, first, second, and third reading. Now, this is the same government which has campaigned for accountability, transparency, and participation in democracy and good governance. Here we have a situation where up until now, the people of Anguilla have no idea how much money has actually been spent on the Landsome Bowl Cultural Center. The representations that they said initially, of course, and they would have criticized and said that the opposition doesn't want the center to be built, which is the furthest from the truth. The reality is that when you are spending money, this is a government project because it is a cultural site for the people of Anguilla. It is on government land. And for the sake of transparency and accountability, even if you say you have private donor funding, if you want to ensure that there could be no allegations of corruption, no allegations of nepotism, then what you ought to do for the sake of good governance is go through the government procurement process. Because today what we have is a situation where the brother of the member for Road South, the Honorable Hayden Hughes, is one of 2 contractors, is the major contractor for that same Landsome Bowl Cultural Center. Now, it is well known throughout Anguilla that the brother is an excellent contractor. He's an excellent builder, there is no doubt. But to avoid the allegations of nepotism, that you are taking a project because you are a minister and giving it to a family member, you should have run that through the procurement system where there's an open process, where other contractors are allowed to bid, and where there could be no claim that you are short-circuiting the procurement process for your own personal needs. There are also allegations that monies have been siphoned off from the $5 million to fund a political campaign. Now, as we all know, within 1 year, general elections are expected to happen. So elections took place in June of 2020, and elections can go up through September of 2025. And so especially within an election year, you want to be extra careful and ensure that you are transparent with your actions by making sure that anything that you do is done through a process that is open, and that way it is apparent that you are hands-off in terms of decision making. That is not the case. And so that is why there is a cloud of secrecy and questions in relation to the construction of the Landsome Bowl Cultural Center. So let me also say this. The opposition is not opposed. If it is that additional funds are required, for whatever reason, we need to have the Landsome Bowl Cultural Center completed so that we can enjoy Carnival 50, which is anticipated in August of this year. And many persons across the length and breadth of Anguilla in the diaspora are looking forward to reconnecting with their families and friends and to come back to Anguilla for Anguilla Summer Festival 50th. But it does not mean that you bypass the systems that are put in place to ensure that we as elected representatives and as ministers of government, that there is accountability for how funds are spent. And so when we went to the House of Assembly, it felt as if we were being stifled, we were being silenced, we were being muzzled from being able to ask questions and get the answers that we needed in order to bring light to this very important issue. This and other issues that appeared in the budget. Oh. And so let me say this. The Speaker holds an honorable seat, and the seat must be respected. But it's also true that the members of opposition are elected by the people of Anguilla and must also be respected. Their views cannot be denied. Their questions cannot be denied. And at the end of the day, we have to ensure that the actions of the Speaker of the House in seeking to shut down the opposition is not something that ought to continue.
So let me ask this question, Honorable Hodge. I see the comments on social media that the Speaker behaves this way because she was selected or appointment by the government side. Yes. So people expect, well, some sort of bias per se, which probably should not be that way. However, but if you become premier tomorrow, would you have the same expectations of your new speaker to be carrying your water and protect your side at any cost? Can you say to the people of Anguilla today that when that process of selecting that speaker, that the speaker will have that authority to whether, be fair and balanced, and you will not have just a water carrier?
Yes, well, definitely, because the role of the speaker must be to be fair and balanced, even if, and Anguilla is not the only jurisdiction, it is not the only country where the speaker is appointed by the government side, right? Mm-hmm. But what is expected is that once you wear that hat, yes, you may have come out of the ranks of a political party, but at the end of the day, your role as speaker is not an extension of the political party that governs. It is your role to hold the House in a fair and reasonable way in which the opposition, who are representatives in their own right, have the ability to scrutinize the works of government. And so I can certainly say that had I been a minister of government, a leader right now and seeing the actions, not from Friday, but from long before, of the Speaker of the House, something would have been done to ensure that the Speaker does not continue to behave in the manner in which she behaves. And it's interesting, as I mentioned to you, the fact that while I was speaking, the Speaker is laughing and sharing expressions, smiling, laughing with the leader of government business, the Honorable Premier, who also happens to be her first cousin. And so when you find these situations, you have to be able to find a way to say that this is not acceptable. And so from what you've seen, the comments on social media, etc., at the end of the day, what the people are concerned about is the fact that democracy only works if the opposition is able to express their views and if the government is held accountable to the people.
You know, since that snippet went viral, I have spoken to a number of regional top government officials and a few regional heads of government who I speak to on a almost daily basis, and a few of them, they were astonished by the speaker's behavior. One prime minister said to me, "Yes, we all want the speaker to rule in our favor," but as he watched that video, he said, "This seems." Not about the people's business. This appears to be personal.
Yes, well, I can't answer whether it's personal or not on the speaker's part. That's a matter for her. What I can say from my part is I was doing my job, and I will continue to do my job. I'm elected by the people of District 2, the District 2 constituency, and I will continue to represent their interests. I am the leader of the opposition in the Anguilla House of Assembly, and I will continue to represent all of the interests of every single person in Anguilla as leader of the opposition, because that is my job, that is my role.
So as far as Friday is concerned, last Friday, so they were able to pass this, what they intended to, or no?
Yes, they did. Of course they did. They passed it, and since then, the members of government, and anyone can visit their social media status and their Facebook pages, etc. And what they're seeking to do is try to minimize the fact that the $1 EC is in the budget for the Landsome Bowl Cultural Center. And I find that is laughable, because if you, as the government, is criticizing the fact that there's a $1 EC listed in the Landsome Bowl Cultural Center line item in the budget you have now passed, then why is it there? Why is it there? And so what it essentially, I want people to understand the importance of the fact that $1 is not the $1 itself. It is an open check that the government can spend an additional $5 million EC and move around funds without having to come back to the House. The other important thing is that what this has done is that they have bypassed the procurement process on the basis that it is totally built from private funding. But now coming to the government, after the contractor has been selected, after all of the work has been done, after at least has started, and now being able to transfer more funds, again without accountability, over to the construction or the finishing of the Landsome Bowl Cultural Center. It cannot be that this government could think that the lack of accountability, the lack of transparency, the lack of good governance in terms of how this matter has been dealt with is something that should be applauded. This is the very thing that they campaigned against. And what's very interesting, and I must mention again, the member for Road South, when he spoke in the House of Assembly on that same Friday, and persons are free to go back and listen, he essentially suggested that if the funds had been funneled through the Treasury, the $5 million that they got from private funding, had they gone through the Treasury, then it is likely that it would not have gotten through procurement, that the project would not have gotten through the procurement stage in time for Carnival 50. So he himself is acknowledging the reason why a decision was made not to funnel the money through the Treasury, but to use a roundabout decision or plan to be able to bring this project to fruition. Now, again, we have no difficulty, the members of the opposition have no difficulty with it being constructed. We look forward to the construction, and many of us will be in attendance at the newly redeveloped Landsome Bowl Cultural Center. But the point is, the process must be right. If you claim that you are elected and you want to bring transparency and accountability, then you must be able to put into action the words that you say. And so far, with everything that has been taking place in this country over the last 4 years, it is sorely missing. And so at the end of the day, the Anguilla United Front, we stand for participation in democracy. We see over and over again where this government, whether once someone goes on the radio and speaks out against them, or they make a statement against them, they send a message that they don't think is in their favor, they seek to shut people down. They criticize these persons in the House of Assembly. They send threatening messages. They go even as far as to contact your employer so that you would stop speaking ill of them. And the thing is that it's not even that you're speaking ill of them in their personal capacity. You are criticizing their actions as members of government. And so what it says is that they do not want a challenge. They want to silence the civil servants so that they do not voice their views. They want to silence the radio talk show hosts and other persons who visit the radio programs because they do not want opposition, and they seek to silence even the opposition in the House of Assembly. This is what we have been dealing with in Anguilla.
So then, let me ask this question as we wind down. Are you then saying that if they spent an additional, well, from the budget that was just passed, whether $50, $500, $500,000, or $5 million, that the people of Anguilla, they may not know how much it is until perhaps a change of government, then you realize how much was spent? Or can something be done before that?
Or next budget. The only other thing that could be done would be for an inquiry to be conducted through the Public Accounts Committee. But short of that, they do not need to come to the House. They do not need to provide any explanation whether or not, and we remember we are a British overseas territory, and I'm curious as to whether, and I've spoken with the governor in relation to this matter from before, and it remains to be seen whether or not this $5 million, and depending on how much now is going to be used of taxpayer dollars to finish the village, whether or not there's going to be accountability and openness at some point in the future, because as of right now, we are not seeing it. And it is disheartening to say the least.
Is your party ready for an election if called right after the summer festival? I see a few candidates, but it's not the full slate. When do you plan on introducing the entire slate to the people of Anguilla?
Yes, we will introduce the entire slate in the future. We have not rolled out the entire slate as yet, but I can tell you that even if elections are called before the summer festival, we are ready.
Okay. Honorable Cora Richardson Hodge, your final words to the people of Anguilla regarding everything that's taken place. You have the floor.
Yes, thank you.
Well, you have the floor, no pun intended. At least you have the floor on THG Network.
Thank you very much, Mervin. I want to say to the people of Anguilla that it's unfortunate the incident that occurred on Friday in relation to the interaction between the speaker and myself. I want to say as well that at the end of the day, we ought not to be afraid to express our views. We have to be able to challenge those who are in positions of power. We are in a democratic society, and we have the right to be able to ask questions, to participate in what is going on in our country. And so, as your elected representative from District 2, and as leader of the opposition in the Anguilla House of Assembly, and as the Anguilla United Front leader, I will not be silenced, and I will continue to look out for your interests. I will continue to represent the best interests of Anguilla. And I look forward to your continued support and to your vote in the 2025 upcoming elections.
The Honorable Cora Richardson Hodge, I thank you so much for joining me here this morning on THG Network, and I wish you and the Anguilla United Front all the best in the future, and have a safe and enjoyable carnival.
Thank you so much, Mervin, and I hope we see you during the Anguilla Carnival.
Oh, absolutely. Well. Most definitely. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
So there you had it, ladies and gentlemen, my chit-chat with the Honorable Leader of the Opposition in the Anguilla House of Assembly, Leader of the Anguilla United Front, the Honorable Cora Richardson Hodge. And I'm sure as the election, as the campaign gets heated and gets started, you'll be hearing more from politicians, hopefully from both sides or from all the sides on Anguilla. Remember, before you leave here, to please subscribe again to our YouTube channel if you have not done so already, so you are able to be kept abreast with news, information, weather, entertainment, interviews, commentary, you name it. Until tomorrow morning, God's willing, at 6 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time, my name is Mervin Hanley, when we'll present the next edition of THG News Today right here on THG Network. Have yourselves a blessed day.
Sons have been serving the people of St. Martin for over 40 years, and the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Carl & Sons for simply the best. There are 2 locations, Colbay and on the Punfill. In Colbay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Punfill, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Carl & Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Colbay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Carl & Sons Bakery. We are here to serve you. Nevis, satisfy your sweet tooth at Feaser's, the coziest spot in Charlestown, known for its mouth-watering ice cream and dal parade. We are open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in and sample our patties, sandwiches, air-fried wings with fries, hot dogs, rotis, and now our famous smoothies, in all flavors of course. And don't forget to try the famous bus-up shut and saltfish. It's Feaser's, located at the entrance to the Cotton Ginnery Mall in Charlestown, Nevis. They are also available by phone, so place your order by calling 1-869-665-2458. Don't ask about the rest, just try the best.